In the vast expanse of space, where stars burned like distant embers and planets floated as ancient sentinels, there existed a galaxy teeming with life. Among these worlds was one known only by its reputation, a place whispered about in hushed homes, even among hardened warriors. It was called Corinthus Asteris, a planet so brutal that it had earned the nickname Death World. Its inhabitants were not just survivors, but masters of survival, honing skills from birth that would make interstellar mercenaries quick. The story begins far away from Corinthus, aboard an alien warship belonging to the Vraxian Empire, a species renowned for their ruthless conquests across galaxies. Their leader, Commander Renok, stood tall on the bridge, his armored frame gleaming under dim red lights. He gazed at the holographic map before him, his sharp eyes narrowing as they focused on Corinthus. The mission was clear: conquer this world and claim its resources for the Empire. No resistance had ever stood against the Vraxians, and Renok saw no reason why today should be any different. As the massive warship descended through Corinthus' turbulent atmosphere, the crew braced themselves for battle. They had heard stories, tales of ferocious beasts, treacherous terrain, and natives who could wield weapons with terrifying precision. But none of them believed such legends held truth. After all, how dangerous could a primitive society truly be? Upon landing, the Vraxian forces deployed swiftly, their sleek black armor blending seamlessly into the shadowy forests surrounding their landing site. Armed with plasma rifles and energy shields, they moved confidently toward what appeared to be a settlement nestled within the dense foliage. Smoke rose lazily from small fires scattered around wooden structures, giving the impression of simplicity and vulnerability. But appearances can deceive. Commander Renok signaled his troops to halt as they neared the edge of the village. Something felt off. There was no sign of panic or fleeing inhabitants. Instead, silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves overhead. Then, without warning, movement erupted from every corner. Figures emerged silently from behind trees, rooftops, and bushes. Men, women, and even children armed with crude yet deadly tools crafted from bone, stone, and metal. For a moment, both sides stared each other down, tension crackling like static electricity. The Vraxians raised their weapons cautiously, unsure whether to open fire immediately or wait for orders. That hesitation proved costly. A young boy stepped forward, no older than 10 cycles, holding nothing more than a sharpened stick. His dark eyes locked onto Renok's visor, unflinching despite the towering presence of the alien commander. Without uttering a word, he hurled the stick with impossible speed and accuracy, embedding it firmly into the ground mere inches from Renok's foot. The message was clear: back off, or face consequences unimaginable. Renok blinked once behind his helmet, processing the act. Such skill wasn't something learned overnight. It required years of training, discipline, and instinct honed to perfection. And this child was merely showcasing basic abilities compared to what others might possess here. Before anyone could react further, another figure approached, a woman clad in tattered furs, her muscular frame speaking volumes about her endurance and strength. She carried 2 curved blades made of obsidian, their edges glinting ominously in the sunlight filtering through the canopy above. Her gaze swept over the invaders, assessing them with cold efficiency. Then came the real challenge. Without provocation, she suddenly lunged toward the nearest Vraxian soldier, moving faster than seemed humanly possible. In a blur of motion, she disarmed him, sending his rifle clattering to the ground before flipping him onto his back with practiced ease. Other soldiers rushed to assist, but she anticipated their moves effortlessly, dodging plasma bolts while retaliating with swift strikes that incapacitated multiple opponents simultaneously. It became evident quickly that these people weren't ordinary fighters. They were experts in combat techniques refined over generations. Every swing of their makeshift weapons carried lethal intent, every step calculated to exploit weaknesses in their enemies' defenses. Even the children joined the fray, using slingshots loaded with poisoned darts to target exposed flesh beneath gaps in armor plating. Panic began spreading among the Vraxian ranks. These supposed primitives fought with a level of coordination and ferocity unmatched by any adversary they'd encountered before. Despite superior technology, their advanced weaponry seemed almost useless against adversaries who relied purely on physical prowess and tactical genius. Rinok watched in growing disbelief as his elite troops faltered under relentless assault. This wasn't warfare, it was an art form, executed flawlessly by individuals who treated battle as second nature. Fear gripped him tightly when he realized the implications. If adults possessed such mastery, then surely the elders must embody legends come to life. Summoning whatever courage remained, Reinach barked commands into his communicator, ordering immediate retreat. However, escape proved easier said than done. As soon as the order reached the ship, explosions rocked the clearing, traps laid earlier by unseen hands now activated, creating chaos amidst already dire circumstances. Amidst the confusion, a group of villagers surrounded Rinok himself. Leading them was an elderly man leaning heavily on a staff carved from twisted wood. Unlike the others, he wore no visible weapon save for the scars crisscrossing his weathered face, telling tales of countless battles survived. Yet there was something profoundly intimidating about him, an aura of authority mixed with raw power. "You dare trespass upon our land." The elder spoke finally, his voice gravelly yet commanding enough to silence everyone present. "You bring the sheens and arrogance, thinking yourselves untouchable, but you are wrong." Reinach swallowed hard, feeling the weight of those words pressing down on him. For the first time in his long career, he found himself utterly outmatched, not by brute force alone, but by sheer willpower and adaptability ingrained deeply within these people. "We mean no harm," he managed to say, though even he didn't believe his own words anymore. "We seek only—" "Silence," interrupted the elder sharply. "Your kind always seeks. Seeks wealth, seeks dominion, seeks destruction disguised as progress. We have seen your type before, many times over. Know this, Korathis bows to no one." With that declaration, the villagers parted slightly, allowing Renok and his surviving troops passage back to their battered vessel. Each step felt heavier than the last, laden with shame and newfound respect for the beings they had underestimated so gravely. Once aboard, Reinach gave the command to depart immediately. As the ship ascended, leaving behind scorched earth and shattered pride, he couldn't help but glance out the viewport one final time. Below lay Korathis, serene yet menacing, hiding secrets humanity might never fully comprehend. Back home, reports filtered through channels slowly, painting vivid pictures of failure and awe. Tales spread throughout the galaxy, recounting how the mighty Vraxian fleet had been humbled by mere mortals living on a death world. Most dismissed them as exaggerations until witness accounts corroborated details too specific to fabricate. From then onward, whenever travelers spoke of Korathis, they did so with reverence tinged with fear. Not because of monsters lurking in shadows or untamed wilderness waiting to devour unwary souls, but because of ordinary men, women, and children whose everyday skills transformed battlegrounds into arenas of unparalleled spectacle. And somewhere deep within the heart of that unforgiving planet, elders continued teaching younger generations lessons passed down since time immemorial. Lessons ensuring that whenever outsiders ventured close again, they would find themselves facing not just warriors, but legions walking amongst mortals.